Okay, so our next topic is going to be a little bit of a process. It takes time to do this. So what we're going to do is take this lightly and then build up gradually. So the next topic we're going to talk about is one-step equations. Now, when you think of solving or in trying to get some kind of answer to a certain problem, you do certain steps to get to it. So, for example, if I had to clean my room, the steps I would go to is actually doing it. Here, step one, all the shirts here, all the garbage here, make my bed, all the sheets go on my bed here, and or my stuffed animals in this little pile. You want to make a process out of it to kind of keep it to you can actually walk through the room, and as you're doing that, you are building those steps or to make your room clean. So we got to understand what we're doing with. So first off, please put this: when you are solving for an equation, you have to do certain steps to arrive to the answer. So what I want to do is to get some definitions. So the first definition I want you to understand is, what does solve mean? Solve means to arrive at an answer. So you are arriving at an answer. And what is an equation? Well, an equation is something that has to do with an equal sign. So this is what we call an equal sign. Now, what's it mean to have an equal sign? Okay, so think of like a teeter-totter. So here's your little pivot, and your little teeter-totter. And as you get on here, and here's somebody right here. And as you're getting back and forth on the teeter-totter, you're pushing yourself up, pushing yourself down. Well, what happens if we want to make this thing balanced? So right now we're here, how do we make this thing balanced? Well, we got to do something to this side, to bring over to this side to make this thing balanced. So we have to maybe subtract to this side and add that same thing to that side. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to balance the teeter-totter, balance the equation. So let's get into this. We're going to do a lot of examples. Okay. So try this one. We have 3x equals 15. So these are examples. Number one. Number two, leave some space. Okay. Leave some space. Leave some space. Let's do those four now. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to think of our teeter-totter, our balancing act. So there's an equal sign here. So equal on each side. Well, obviously this is not equal yet because we have to find something to substitute x in to make it 15. So right now, you're going to kind of do something like this. You want to keep the math even on both sides. And you want to also keep your work organized, because if you don't keep your work organized, you're going to find out you're going to get lost easy. And this is how it's nice to kind of see your work, and you be proud of it. And you can also recognize where you made a mistake. Because some students would just erase the whole problem and be like, you only made one little mistake if you just change that little piece. So let's do this. So what times 3 makes 15? Well, let's see, 3 times 10, 3 times 7, 3 times 5, right? So we know that 3 times 5 is 15. So what we're going to do is go, this is multiplication. So what is the inverse? What is the inverse of multiplication? What's the inverse of multiplication? Division, right? It's the division. Well, that's what you're going to do here. You're going to be like, okay, so you're going to draw your line and do a 3. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that this goes away. But like I tell my students, well, if you do it to this side, why don't you do it to this side as well? So you're trying to even them out. So if you divide 3 here, what do you got to do on this side? You got to be fair, you got to divide also by 3. Okay? So now, what's left on this side? Well, it looks like the 3's go down to 1, so you can do this, 1x. But in my recent videos, I said I do not want you to write 1 anymore, because it's redundant. What is 15 divided by 3? Well, let's see, 3 times 1, 5, right? So really, that's your answer. And you told me that 3 times 5 is 15. So there you go. Let's do some more. Well, we have 5 times y equals 15. So what do we have to do? What's the inverse of multiplication? Division. But to keep your work organized, what I would like you to do is put a little line through the equation. So you are really keeping things organized, because later on it gets worse. When I say it gets worse, this will become bigger, and you're gonna have to do 5 or 6 processes or ways to solve the problem. So here we go. So we have 5 times y equals 15. I'm going to divide this side by 5, but I also have to divide, make it fair, so I have to divide both sides by 5. Well, what is 5 divided by 5? 1. But remember, I'm not going to write 1 anymore. And what is 15 divided by 5? Well, 5 times 3 is 15. So that's just going to be 3. And there you go. And you can check. You can go 5 times 3 is 15. It works. So check your work. And I'm going to require you to do that, to check your work, because that determines that if you got the right answer. Okay, try this one. So now, since the inverse of multiplication is division, what about the other way around? So what's the inverse of multiplication? Well, it's multiplication. So the inverse of division is multiplication. So this is x divided by 3 equals 10. And you can sit here and you can do some problems. Keep yourself organized. What do I have to do to this side to get rid of the fraction? So what do I have to do here to get rid of the fraction? So I'm trying to get rid of the fraction. So I'm trying to get rid of the fraction. How do I get rid of the fraction? You multiply it by the bottom number. So you multiply this by 3. But if I multiply this by 3, what do I have to do to this side? You got to be fair. That teeter-totter has to work out. So if I multiply by 3 on this side, well, I got to multiply 3 on this side. So it kind of balances out. So you got to go times 3 there. Well then, guess what? Those cross out. Because this is 3x. So let me make this little step hurt. This is technically 3x over 3 equals that. And what's 10 times 3? 30. So you have it like that. Well, the 3's go away. And that's what you get there. Okay? Like I said, you're going to have to practice these. You're going to have to watch this video over and over. You might. And that's okay. But the more you do, the better you're going to get at this. And you've got to spend time on this. You can't just do it one time and be done with it. No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry, I tried as well. It doesn't work that way. Brain takes a while. So now, here you go. What is this going to do? This is a negative. But what if I put a little multiplication there? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. What are we going to divide by to get rid of negative 5? You're going to divide by negative 5. But remember, we got to be fair. We got to go to the other side. So that's also negative 5. And what's a negative divided by a negative? Positive, yeah. And what's a positive divided by a negative? A negative. So there you go. There's your 4 problems. Okay? So now, let's do some more. Let's do some more of these. So let's do 5. And let's do try this one. I'll try these two. This is 1/2 equals 5. So 1/2 equals 5. So we have to make sure if this is 1/2 equals 5, what are we going to do to get rid of the fraction? We're going to have to multiply. We're going to have to multiply by what? To both sides. The reciprocal of this. So maybe 1 over x. Oops, sorry. X over 1. Can we do that? Can we do the same thing here? Well, let's see. This is x, this is x. This goes down to 1 equals 5x. And you'd be like, uh-oh, we didn't solve for x's. So what's the next thing we're going to do? We're going to have to divide by 5. And the answer is 1/5. And you're probably thinking, that's way out. Well, let's do it again, but this time, make it simpler. Let's make it easier. How do you get rid of a fraction? You divide by its reciprocal. Okay. Look at number 6. Put that down. 3 times x equals -9. What do we have to do to get rid of multiplication? We divide, right? Divide by what? 3. We divide by 3. Make sure you do what you do to this side of the line. Think of this line as a river. What you do to this side to get on the side of that river, you have to do it to this side to get on this side of the river. So here's a boat. Here's a boat on this side. I want it to get on this side. So think about it as you cross this line, your boat changes directions. Hey, there you go. So that's going to be x equals -3. Because what's 3 times -3 is -9. Okay, there's some more. So the more you do, the better you're going to get at this, and you have to believe me on that. Okay, so try this one. Why don't you try? So let's do 3/4 x equals 9. Then you're going to be like, uh-oh, fractions. Yeah. Not really. What did we do to this one? We multiplied by its reciprocal. What reciprocal means that so, okay, here's a note. Short note. A reciprocal means what's the reciprocal of 1/5? The reciprocal is 5/1, or 5. Okay. What's the reciprocal to 3/1? Reciprocal is 1/3. What's the reciprocal of $100? The reciprocal is 1/100. So you're thinking about this one here. So on this one, what's the reciprocal to 3/4? And I'm hoping at home you're going 4/3. So you're going to go 4/3 and 4/3. Remember what you do on this side, you do on this side. That's your reciprocal. You might need to pause this video and go back to that. Okay. So 4 times 3, 3 times 4. X equals 9 times 4. 9 times 4 is going to be 36. 1 times 3. Remember your fractions. Well, 12 divided by 12 is 1. So x. And what's 36 divided by 12? 36 divided by 3 is... Keep saying the answer sometimes. So there you go. So you did the reciprocal to both sides. That's that reciprocal part. Let's do some more. Number 9. Try those two. I'm hoping that you're taking this for real, because you're stopping the video and you're actually trying these before I am doing them, because that's pretty much how you actually are learning. You're learning before I actually do them, and I'm hoping that you are taking that strategy and making it work for you and not just for me. Okay? So Here's your line. Kind of keeps things organized. This is 15 equals 3 times r. And you can probably think that I can tell you the answer right now without doing anything. It's going to be 5. And I'm going to be like, good, you're getting it. How'd you get there? Well, I did this. And I did 15 divided by 3 is 5. And I'd be like, good for you. Look at this one. How do we get rid of this fraction? We take the reciprocal, right? We take the reciprocal. So we go times 3 over 1 times 3 over 1. 3 times 1? 1 times 3. 9 times 3. What happens now with this? So your answer is what? Well, maybe you don't believe me that's the right answer. So what you're going to kind of start doing later is that you're going to check your work. You're going to check your work. Well, we'd be like, how do I do that? Easy. Isn't this your answer? That's your answer, right? Here's your... That's what I just gave to you. Take this answer and plug it in right here. So what is 27 divided by 3? It works. Okay. I want to do one more. Make it easy for you. This equation is pretty famous in pretty much every concept. This is called the distance equals rate times time. So I'll give you a little preview of this equation. Let's say you're going on a trip, hopefully soon, and I am 100 miles away from it. So that's my distance. I'm 100 miles away from when I'm going. It's going to take you 5 hours. 5 hours to get there. What? You want to find the rate that you go. Well, if I go 60 miles an hour, when will I get there? Well, this equation will help you discover this. So if you are 100 miles away from something and it takes you 5 hours to get there, at what rate of speed will you have to go? What rate of speed will you have to go? Well, that's easy. There we go. solve for R. All I did is put 100 equals R, don't know, but I know the time is 5. Now solve for R. And how many 5s go into 100? 100. Right? So it's going to take you 20 minutes. No, sorry. 20 hours to go that far. No, sorry. 20 miles per hour. Okay. If you're not familiar with miles per hour, that's okay. I think that's okay now. I think that's it for now. I want us to really practice on this. This is just the first topic of solving equations. It will get more hectic later when we get into 2 steps, which actually is coming close. So I want us to really get into that later. So please, please watch this again. Practice all the problems that I gave you up here. Practice those reciprocals. So, for example, what's the reciprocal of 1/5? 5/1. Okay. So, practice, practice. I will see you in the next video.